Let's start this evening with a quick agenda. First of all, welcome everyone. Today is our chance to show us some presentations about the Mendix Fun and some Mendix Native. And before that, I will give a short introduction of our company. So that is the commercial for this evening. I will keep it short, but it is really a good one. My name is Pim. I'm the CTO of Appronto. For a couple of years, MVP as well. So I'm helping Mendix to build as well the best platform, local platform in the world. So I'm enjoying that for a couple of years. 9 years to be specific. Nine years in this ecosystem, and not boring yet. And keep growing with all the things happening in the Mendix world. I've built so far 40 apps that are landing in production, so I'm pretty proud of it. And yeah, all the things we built with Appronto. What we do is making the complex simple, and therefore we use two platforms. They both low-code. Yeah, pretty obvious. It's Mendix, and the other one is Boomi. Boomi is a low-code platform as well, but mainly for integrations. So what you, as a developer in Mendix, you build mappings and that sort of things, and processing messages, etc. That is what Boomi is doing as well on a large scale, and is the only thing what Boomi does on a very good way. And the other product we're using in big landscapes is Solus. Solus is an event broker. For some guys, you know, a data hub is also a message broker as well. And that is what we're using in big landscapes for our customers. We're doing pretty good. All the awards and happy things. So yeah, we're growing. So for tonight, I will invite my colleague Pieter, and afterwards I will talk you through our solution for the Authenticator app. So Pieter.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Pim. Very nice to be here. Let me first give a very short introduction of who I am. I know you're not very interested in that, but I will do it very short. I'm a business engineer at Appronto. My job is mainly to build applications at customers. I'm also part of the pre-sales team and of the QA team, and also the car tracker from the DocGen module. And I don't know if you know it, but if you have worked with the default template module of Mendix, then our solution, the DocGen, is a very good option you should consider. I have studied in Eindhoven, and that's the study operations management and logistics. And I think this study is a very good combination with Mendix, because you learn a lot about business processes and modeling them and logistic processes. And when you are talking about such processes, you always want to model them. And we learned Java or other languages. And I'm always have always been very interested in IT, but it was always very slow and a little bit difficult, and all those exceptions and semicolons you have to put in. And then I came in contact with Mendix, and that for me is one of the best things I have happened in my life, in my professional life, because I can build apps very fast. I can model things very fast. If I have an ID, I can just build it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for Mendix also on this in this kind of studies to be more involved. Another fact about me is that I am not so good in chess, and I was curious, who knows here what the ELO rating is? Okay, 6, 7 people. Okay, so those are the really smart ones. ELO rating is a way of determining the strength difference between, in this case, chess players. You can also use it in darts or other one-on-one games. And for example, Magnus Carlsen has like an ELO rating of above 2600, I think. And this is like a very much beginner rating. So I'm a Mendix fanboy. And this is my second to last day before I leave for holidays. So that's also very nice. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the chess app I developed, and I was wondering who is using here Mendix to develop applications, him or herself. Yeah, so that's like almost all of you, I think. And maybe some people already thought about, hey, what are the limits of Mendix? What can I build? What can I not build? And some of you have, some of you have not. I want to take you on a trip with a little something I have built with what is possible in Mendix, but clearly not the goal of the platform. I will give a short explanation about what is chess. Why did I build it in Mendix? Yeah, where do you start when you have such an ID? So yeah, the ID pops up. Where do you begin, and how do you come from an ID to a working prototype? How to make the app kind of smart, not smart like artificial intelligence, but it should know whether a move is allowed, or whether a take is allowed, or whether you are standing check. So very basic stuff, but already kind of difficult. And last of all, how to play together with Mendix. We'll go into that later, but you can imagine if you have a data grid or something on your screen, how do you make it refresh and not by a timer? Well, I talked about that later. I will first give a little bit of how I started, then I will give the demo, and then I will give like 1 or 2 examples from how it looks on the other side, and then you're done. What's next? Also, yeah. What is chess? Chess is one of the oldest games we know. It's originated in the 7th century, the first findings we did. It's not exactly the same as we play it now, but it's a very old game, and a lot of people have studied the game and are still finding new positions. It's actually very simple. It only has a few rules. You have like 5 different pieces, 6, and every piece has its own limitations, where you can go and where you cannot go. I can explain the rules to you in a few minutes. From this piece can do this piece can do this piece can take. But it's also extremely difficult to master. Yeah, the top chess players have played for thousands and thousands of hours and are still finding new positions. And I find it funny because at Appronto we say we make the complex simple, and you can also compare that to this game. It's very simple, but it's very complex. Also, Mendix is simple, but you can make very complex stuff with it. So that's fun. And why did I build it in Mendix? Yeah, most of all for the fun. We had a hackathon at Appronto in April, and I did not know what I wanted to build. Some people were building business apps. And I thought, hey, why not build a chess app to see if it's possible? And I was also curious whether I could finish it or not. Because, yeah, in the beginning you have some ideas, but you don't know how far you can get. And another big reason is, yeah, then I don't have to worry about user stories and all those Scrum rituals. It's always, yeah, I don't like being monitored by other people, what's my progress and is and everything. And now I was my own boss, and yeah, felt very good. Yeah, so where do you start? If anyone has any questions, just raise your hand and I will try to answer them. Well, this is one of the places we mostly start when we have an ID, right? The domain model. And actually, if you ignore the non-persistent objects, so the orange ones, we just look at the 3 blue objects. It's actually quite simple. There's a game. And the game is like, you can have on the same server, there can be multiple games. And one game exists of 64 squares, right? It's a board of 8 by 8. So all those places are on the game. We know they are on the game. And there are 32 pieces, 16 for each color. They are also belonging to that game. And a piece can be on one place. What happens if a piece is attached to the game, but it's no longer attached to a place? Anyone have an ID? It's been taken, exactly, yeah. So that's why at the beginning I missed this association from piece to game. I thought it was not necessary, but later when my project evolved and I was finally ready to do the taking, I thought, hey, the pieces need also to be attached to the game so I can know they are taken. And actually, For the real experts, we also should have here like a Boolean, whether it's been taken or not, but it's something for in the future. So this is the domain model. You have pieces, places, and a game. That's the first step. Of course, in the beginning, you don't have all the attributes, but it's about the concept. Well, the game, 64 places, pieces. Okay, so where to start? You start with a domain model, and then you start by creating the basic setup. So don't worry about moving or taking, but I just wanted to have a board with the pieces on its original places. I thought if I have that, then I can go further. So I created a template grid. Of course, it can be better, but it's also, it's hobby. So you do it quick and dirty. Template grid 8 by 8. The places are being shown, and the piece is being retrieved by an association. If it's on the place, it's visible. If it's not, you just see nothing. And with this snippet, the piece is shown that is on this place. Don't worry about it too much. The most important is you have a template grid that shows the places, and if there's a piece on it, it shows the piece. Styling. That's actually in the first day, 2 days, it was like 60% of the work. You will see later how it looks. You can imagine there's quite a lot of styling. I used the drag and drop widget for moving the pieces, and I just started moving around. So what do I have now? I just have a board with pieces I can move. No validation whether a move is allowed. So you can take a piece and move it to the other side of the board. That's all possible in this scenario, in this setup. And you will see the board on the next slide. Then you have that. And then you want to start about, okay, now I want to move the piece, but the piece should only be able to go where it's allowed to go. So I did it in 2 ways, which I'm not going to elaborate too much. But there is one flow that determines which moves are allowed. So suppose you have a pole can only move 1 piece up or 2 places up. Well, that comes out of the moves subflow. And I have the subflow that determines where it can take. So a pole can only take diagonally. So, and when you combine those 2 subflows, you have all the places a piece can go. And this is just a very a piece of the logic. So you have the game, you have the current place of the piece, and this subflow will give you a list of all the allowed places. So this is how it actually looks. So these are the places, of course, and these are the pieces. And this square, maybe I can use this. This square is allowed move. So the pole can go only 1 place up, but it can also take, because that's also a rule of chess. And I combine those 2 lists to determine what are all the allowed options to go. And you can see when you press a piece, where it can go. So that's our like little hints, but it's not actually hints, it's just the rules. Okay, now I'll show you to you in real life. Adriaan, are you ready? Okay. Pieter Verheul. Ja, maar moet die code nog even pakken. Codes in je teams.
We're good.
Yeah. Everyone sees this? Okay, well, I can show you even more than I'm going to show now, but you get codes. So if you start, you have to do search, Pim. And when you create a game, you get a code for the other side. So if it's randomly determined whether you're black or white. If I'm black, I get the code for white. I can send it to my friend, and he can log in with that code. It's not. I've not think about security at all. That's how it just works. So I'm white, and my friend Adriaan is sitting there. He's black. I'm white. Always starts with chess. Okay, I can press a piece, And I hope everyone sees it, but you see those places become get a highlight around it. So that's the logic who determines where you can go. And I press the queen, it can go nowhere. And but the horse, the knight, can jump over places. So then you see those squares as well. So I'm going to make one of the most famous moves. That's moving the e-pawn 2 places up. When you do that, people know you're an expert. Okay. So now black is its turn. And you see, it's being refreshed. It's not with a timer, it's not by polling, but it's pushed to the client. So that's also something I did for the first time. It's not like a microflow timer that refreshes the page every time. No, also not a WebSocket, but it's a widget. It's not that it's the pusher widget. Okay, so now it's my turn again, and you see the second row is more open, so we can see. Okay, I can go like diagonally all the way. You have to trust me. I have built this algorithms for all the pieces, and it's quite a hassle because you have to make loops and while loops, and with Mendix it's more work than with a normal programming language. But I will move this piece 2 places up because that's what we agreed this morning. So black's turn again, and black is putting his knight, and what I'm now going to take. So what happens is the game sees that I am going to another place. It checks it if it's allowed. When it's allowed, it puts my piece on that place, and the other piece is removed from the place. And then I have like a list of all the taken pieces at the side of the board. Black's turn is now, and then the demo is over. Black is putting a check on my king. And in chess, the most important rule is don't lose your king. When your king is being checked and you cannot prevent a check, it's checkmate. Currently, I am being checked, and the game recognizes that. So how it does it, it sees that my king is under attack, and yeah, that's it actually. And so if I'm making this move is normally allowed, move the pawn 2 places up. But if I do that now, the game recognizes that I'm still being checked, and it says you cannot perform this move because it will result in you being checked. You can never check yourself. So I have to undo this check or I lose the game. If I cannot move. I put my piece in front of my pawn in front of it, I block the check, and the game recognizes this, and we can continue playing for hours. But I think that black already knows that this is a losing game for him. So I think he will give up very soon. Yeah, he gave up. Yeah, that's so now we see in the top you are white and the winner is white. So there's much more to the game. This is just a short demo. Are there any questions yet? Henky? How did you do the check if the king is under attack? For me, that feels like a hard part. Yeah. Can I show it to you at the end? Yeah? Okay. Oh, sorry. Henk-Jan asked from how does the game know there is a check? And because it seems like the hardest part. Yeah, that's not really true, but I will show it at the end of the presentation how it looks in the modeler. Can we show it there? Oh, the modeler is not open. Oh. Yeah. Then I'll do it maybe later. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Okay, this is just an example of how the moves of one piece are being determined. I will keep it short, but every place is actually just a combination of coordinates. So 1,1 is A1, or 1,2 is A2. And a bishop is allowed to move diagonally. So if it's in the center of the board, it can move 4 directions, top right, top left, etc. And that's being done here. So we have the starting positions and we move it up, 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 until one of the coordinates exceeds 8 because the board is no bigger than that. Too much, enough for this. If you're really interested, I can show it to you later. This is also a fun part. The check for a check. If you do a move, you should never allow a check on yourself. So what it does, the move is being done but not committed, it checks the new situation of a check is being done to the mover. If it's not being done, then it's allowed. And then it checks whether a check is being done to the opponent. And Henk-Jan, you're interested in what's happening inside this microflow. Then the last part about multiplayer. Well, you said, is it a WebSocket? I think it's kind of a WebSocket actually. And it's a widget in the App Store. It's free for use like this, and it's very, very easy to implement. Polling. Does everyone know the difference between polling or pushing? Yeah, this looks like a yes. So now we are pushing it. Pusher is like it's a platform where you can well, let me say it more how you use it. When you want to update a client, so a page that someone is looking at, you just you use this object which comes with a widget. You fill in which which object it's talking about, and which action should be done. Those 4 expressions are parameters you get when you sign up at Pusher. And on the other page, we have a listener. So this widget listens to the stream whether an action needs to be done. And when the microflow calls the notify action, this action is being done. Yeah, what can I say more about it? It's quite easy to implement when you understand how it works. You only have to send the game, and based on the game ID, it knows to which client should refresh. More on this, or so okay. And then the last, what's next? You're never finished with such a hobby project. I have some ideas, but there are much more. Styling can be better. For example, when a pawn comes to the end of the board, it becomes a different piece. You can choose between a queen or all pieces. I've not done it, but I don't think it's very difficult because it just changed the enumeration of the piece to something else. And a little pop-up. Show the last move. Adriaan made the move. I'm talking to you all and I missed the move. Normally it would be nice to see what happened. But also make it more smartphone friendly. It works now on the smartphone, but drag and drop widget is not really good for this use. So yeah, that would be nice if there would be a better solution for that. Access rules. Yeah, I just did something now to come as far as possible, but it could be much better. And yeah, the most fun, play against the computer. So not to a human opponent, but to a real computer. I have 3 ideas for that. Just do random allowed moves. So check all the moves that are allowed and do one of it. Can be fun when you're not so good like me. Connect to an API from a chess engine. Stockfish is a famous chess engine. Just send the moves. There are like codes for moves in chess. Or build your own AI in Mendix. And when you do that, you are the real MVP. And yeah, so now it's your turn. I have made this widget of this module available on the marketplace. I've published it on GitHub. Yeah, so you can all download it and go ahead. And you can ask me questions if you want. Chess. The question was, what is it called? It's called chess. Yeah, something like Pieter/chess. But where can I share it? Okay, yeah, I will post it on Slack. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Someone else?
What was the widget called? Was it called Notify?
The widget is like a module in the marketplace. It's called Pusher. It's also recommended by Mendix in the official documentation. And you get the widget and the notify action with the module. So you only need to sign up at the Pusher website and you get your credentials. And then you can very easily implement it. If you have any problems with that, just let me know because I've done it already. And when you download the module, actually the only thing you need to change are the constants. These are constants, yeah. So another question? Yeah. So the question is, you did build it during the hackathon, and but it's in the how much time did you really spend on this app? The hackathon, yeah, the hackathon started on Friday, and Friday I drank a little too much, and so Saturday I think I started at about 5 p.m. and I worked till 2 in the night maybe, and of course it was not finished, so I've spent 40 hours maybe private time, maybe more with the presentation. Not too much, but also not too little. Yeah, and I finished it in July maybe, and I picked it up for the meetup 2 weeks ago, and I started building new features. And this morning it didn't work anymore. So okay. Anyone more else? No? Yeah, that's it then.
Thanks, Pieter. What Pieter did was nice, and I can say do it yourself as well, because Pieter pretends he's knowing chess, so he thinks, okay, I'm a good product owner, so I built my own game and I know everything about chess, and I try to make that. Please do that yourself as well. Make an app you know you're the expert in, the domain expert, and try to build something. In that way, you can master Mendix as well. The pusher widget, for example, that was a great example of to explore new things in the marketplace. And maybe on customer projects, you have in your mind, oh, I have the ability to use push instead of pull. So Pieter, thank you, and check out this project on GitHub or the marketplace, and yeah, let us know what do you think. So let's move on. We're a bit out of time, but I hope you excuse us for that. But the pizzas were late. Let's start with a question: who knows what an authenticator is and using it every day? And that is a full house. Thank you. That validates that you guys here and wanted to know more about this topic. So authenticators are pretty common in our lives, and I will first give some more clarification about the multi-factor authentication as well. I built a module myself in the marketplace about this topic to support the Mendix community to build Mendix apps that are a safer place. We all know that security is really important, and one simple thing on every app you use, if it's privately or in a commercial place, two-factor authentication is really important. It prevents a lot of hacks. So after you have authenticated with your username and password, then a second layer of security is added by sending you a generated code via multiple methods. That can be SMS, email, you have a phone call, you get a push message from the LastPass authenticator or the authenticator of Microsoft. That are the authenticators that are supported with push notifications, really easy. So these are the methods that are commonly used, and I was like, okay, can I make that myself in Mendix? Because if you want to have a extra layer of security for your customers, you can offer them an application, but it is completely tailor-made. So then it's not only authenticating in two ways for your customer, but you can engage them as well with other features. And that was the main reason I built it. So why won't you in general want the Authenticator app? And that is the one that is, if you log in on your website or your application, you want to have that as well in your app, in your mobile app as well. So then it is bound to the user, and it gives security under the hood with a generated number. You see when your Google Authenticator is open, you see a number generated all the time. That is the market standard for one-time passwords. is called OTP in the rest of the presentation. And why? Why you have to use an authenticator app? SMS, for example, is not safe anymore. There are a lot of phishing attacks recently as well, and yeah, a lot of, for example, banking companies are moving away from SMS because it's not safe anymore. So it's a perfect opportunity to make an app as well for our users. And what is the user experience you want to deliver to your customers? And that is the authenticator is mainly used for convenience. You get an application instead of an SMS, and sometimes you can copy paste easily that code. But in general, we hate the hurdles during login. The multi-factor authentication, why is that? As a second step, it slows down the login procedure, etc. But it is important. And when you use a authenticator app, you have less typing, less errors, and more speed. And that is what we want, right? We want to have a seamless, quick login procedure, but we want to have it make it safe. So, as I mentioned it earlier, Microsoft and LastPass, for example, have made this already a seamless procedure. So, what if we create that app ourselves? That was my challenge, because for a customer this was a question. So can we make our own authenticator in our app, so we do not have to offer customers to have a Google Authenticator? Because in a business perspective, sometimes Google and business data is not very trustful. So I thought, what if we can make an app that has that authenticating procedure in it? So we can provide an app with two-factor authentication, but strategically also add new features as well. So we can engage with customers, we can add more features besides the authenticating part. We was dealing with the crypto hands apart. A lot of crypto platforms have also a native app, and they use often also the same mechanism already. So they build an app, they have that same OTP generating when you're logging in, when you're doing transactions. So that is an example that there are already companies that are doing that as well. So what we built is an authenticator template, because when I talk to customers and we want to build a solution for them with this security part, I was like, okay, is it even possible to build this in Mendix? So I had to build it first myself to validate if it's gonna work, and then we evolved it to a nicer application template, and we building it now for a customer of ours. I will do the demo. First, some learnings, because when you start with such a project, it's important to use the market standards for security. In this case, the one-time password generation. It is a default algorithm that is generating every 30 seconds a random number that is based on a secret you exchange one time with each other between the server and your native app. And from that point, you have the generation of the number on your device itself. So the number is not generated by the server; it's generated on your native application as well. That has to be on the native app only. A few learnings I was about logging, because when you're doing security things like this, it's important that when you build such an application natively, every step needs to be logged, because you want to have patterns, events to determine fraud, for example, or for debugging is very handy. But you can also listen to those events, because when you build event-driven, and for some of you, event-driven is not new. For some of you guys, event-driven is when a user logged in, you can listen to that event. So you can send an email, or for example, when you log in for the first time, you can trigger based on that event for, okay, welcome to your first login, etc. So events in general are important, and in this case, more important. The third part was you have to validate every call from your native application. When you look at how Mendix built native applications, when you build native applications, the native application can call directly microflows on the runtime, but they are validated by the security of Mendix. But I added an extra layer of security with that OTP that is generated on the device itself. That is important because that validates that the call is really came from the native application. That is really important. Otherwise, you cannot know where the call was made from if you have the username and password as well. The secret, when you're generating such an OTP, you get one time and one time only the secret to generate those 6-digit number you all recognize from the Google Authenticator. You have to save that securely. I will let a few slides later what type of mechanisms you have in Mendix for that. Use biometrics. All the phones in our pockets have such great security features in it. They recognize your face. They recognize your finger. All those mechanisms are on your device itself. It never leaves your device. Your face, your fingerprint is in a secure enclave on your device. So make use of it. It is really, really easy to use it within the Mendix platform because the native mobile resources module has that JavaScript action that triggers the authentication of your face or your finger. So make use of that as well. And when you're building native applications, it's more a generic one, but it is really important that you make it a native feeling. And when I developing this application was first started as an experiment from, is it possible to even create such an authenticator? I missed the haptic feedback, for example. That is the feedback you get when you press a button. You actually press a button. It's not a screen you touch. You press a button. And those type of things I also discovered, just like Pieter discovered the pusher widget and the pusher module, I discovered this. And yeah, this is what I'd like to share with you. So the security part of persisting your secrets, this is from the React Native platform. Mendix native applications are built on React Native. And the standard way of saving data to local storage, so not the database locally, but local storage that is supported by React Native, is by default the async storage, but that is not recommended to save your secret there, the secret you use to generate the OTP. So I made a small module that it used the native encryption storage as well, where your face was saved on the secure enclave. You can as well save passwords and secrets. So that was also the thing I discovered, that one is also important. And later on, I built it a few months ago, and I think 2 or 3 releases ago, the full encryption of the database of Mendix is a new feature. So you can encrypt your full database on your device. So then you can save it as well in a table. But the full encryption comes with a counterpart, and that the performance can be slow. But if you keep your app small, maybe that is not a big deal. So my first proof of concept I will show you, and then later on I will show you the result where I stand now nowadays with this module. I will click through it. It is pretty quick because I log in. I will pause for a second. I just filled in my username and password. So now the second 2-factor authentication part is started. You see on the right side, my phone was mirrored to my screen as well. And that is the push notification I get for logging in as well. So this is the native Mendix application running on my phone. And this is the web application that is running on my machine. I will tap the push notification. I see the random generated code as well with the remaining time that is constantly refreshing. And I have two options here. Quickly copy paste the code in that form, or just click the button. Okay, yes, it's me, I'm logging in. So that is what I do. I just click, yes, it's me. And you see the web application you're logging in, the Mendix app as well, is reacting on that button. And this is really, really powerful. That validates my experiment. Okay, this is possible with Mendix as well. I built my own authenticator. So what is the next step then? The improved one. That was yesterday. I recorded it on this device. Let's see how it looks like now. I fill in my demo user as well. Log in. I pause for a second. You see here the push notification is coming in, and the web page is waiting for your confirmation when you have passed that step. So it's running. I open the push notification. Oh, crap. Who? Now, Pim, oh, you're slowing down. Good. You're opening the application. And you see a card is popping in. Okay, this is you with a more styling card. And you can approve it or not the login attempt. So when I do approve, you see success, and instantly you're also logged in your browser as well. What can you do more than when logging in is at least the two-factor authentication? What if we send a request? Oh, you have to pay. Okay, approve. And as well, you see directly the notification here, the action is confirmed. But you can also decline that payment or action you want to have two-factor authentication with. You can also reject that. So that is the improved one. To onboard, to start with this app is also an Azure, because yeah, you want to make sure that when you logging in for the first time on your native application that it is really you. How can that onboarding be like? I made a small clip for that as well. And that is the first time you have to accept and proceed with your app. So the first thing is you have to log in, download the app. So this is the onboarding for new customers. Download the app. So I download the app, I opened it, accepted the terms of use, etc. for the first time. Log in as well on your native application with the demo user, securely saved in my LastPass, of course. Log in, and that is the part you all recognize. Now you have to scan a QR code to bound that user to your device. This is the only way, and the first one to bound it to your device. So scan the QR code. And you see it immediately recognizes as well, just like the login, you have scanned the code. Thank you very much. Please proceed. So your customer has a clear process and clear steps how to move further. Ooh. So we scanned the QR code. We were on that step as well. The next step is that you have to fill in as well a PIN code. Why is this important? Because you have OTP, right? And you have to, when you enable biometrics, etc., you always have to have a fallback, and the fallback is a PIN code. So you have to set it as well on the onboarding. Why do I click? on the onboarding flow as well. So you set the access code here. Yes, here. So you fill it in. You do not see it when you're when you're recording on an iPhone. And it says, okay, do you want to have enable biometrics as well? And this is also from a UX perspective really important. Ask your user what you're going to ask from your device. In this case, I want to make use of your biometrics. So you have to ask them with a clear action. Shoot. Next one. And when you have enabled that one as well, the Face ID is enabled, and then you can proceed with the next one, and you're good to go, and can receive as well new transactions and actions to confirm. Yeah, that is it for the Authenticator app. And I want to end this one with what if we can prevent this question? Because every developer knows this pop-up. What if we can just receive a push notification and confirm, okay, yes, I want this to production. Yes, I want to log in. Yes, I want to access the logs, or I want to remove a member from all the things you want to you need two-factor authentication for. So that was my my last question for tonight. Thank you very much. I hope the knowledge I shared was useful. And yeah, are there any questions? Elena. The biggest challenges while developing this app. First of all, research first. Okay, what is an authenticator app as in general? What are the techniques that are used? And are there common libraries already available in the React Native community? Because the library I used was an OTP client for generating code. I haven't programmed that myself. I'm not a good programmer, but I'm a good modeler. So that was a challenge, how to embed that module in your native app, because you have to build it with some extra settings that the library is included. So that was the first learning. And the other one, and that was a really tricky one, was session matching. How can I discover that the session that was started on the website was also the session on your device? And that is the tricky one, because that can never be interfere, or you have to think like a hacker. That was the sentence about when you're communicating with the runtime, make sure you also send your OTP with it. So you make sure it definitely comes from the native application. So that was, yeah, and the building process was also quite a hassle sometimes. But with the latest version of Mendix platform, a few months later, it's getting easier and easier. And when you have a first good build and you build a developer app first, that's maybe good to mention. When you're developing native applications with Mendix, you can make a developer application as well. So your own, make it native, you download from the App Store. Why is that useful? Because when you do so, you can include the things like the OTP client, the haptic feedback I discovered, the secure storage where an additional library was needed, but also the splash screen, etc., push notifications. All those things are possible with your own developer application. So make sure when you open the native builder from the Studio Pro and you select the first option, make your own developer application, do all the things like signing and that sort of things. Then you have your own version that you can model for quickly. You can make changes. You can test the push notifications I've shown you tonight. The actual push notification was sent to my device from my local host. The sharp guys on there was seeing that it was just the local host. Was not online, just my own laptop and generating push notifications. So that was basically my biggest challenges. Yes.
How long have you been experienced with Mendix? That's the first one. And the second one, how long does it take to build this application?
Yep.
How many years experience with this?
Okay. My experience with Mendix is 9 years. When I started with Mendix, before I was a moi programmer, so I was not a good one. But the low code part was really fitting me. So that is what I did for 6-7 years, building apps for customers. So that was the question on the answer on the first question. What is your experience with Mendix? The second one was how long does it take this experiment? The first one, the ugly proof of concept you saw, this one, I think a couple of evenings and a few drinks, because the session matching and the timings that are really important. Can we find that? And once that was validated, I was confident enough to talk to our customers. Okay, we can make such an app for you to engage with customers, to provide a secure native application to move further. And the third one, I was what was that one?
Do you have also experience with programming or not?
Oh, a bit, and most of the time I do some copy pasting of Java libraries and JavaScript and Stack Overflow, just like Ronald mentioned. As a starter, I should just start with Mendix and the easy applications. But yeah, more drinks. Yeah. So yeah, how long does it take for you then? Yeah, I don't know. I am. Yeah, the module of the multi-factor authentication is in the App Store, so you can experiment with that one. Ja, goed gejat. Yeah. So experiment with that module, implement that module, make use of the available methods. They're already in the App Store for that. And then, yeah, I'm validating this in the community, whether if I have to provide this template to the community as well, or maybe other forms of it. So if you are interested, if you have a use case at a customer for their own authenticator app or their own app with to engage with customers, also from a security perspective, yeah, please let me know.
Why is it better than other tools?
Okay, that is a more general question. Why is Mendix better than OutSystems, Pega, the other platforms? Let me be simple answer, and I can talk for hours about it. Why Mendix is better than the other ones? But I'm in the Mendix business for 9 years. I'm not bored because Mendix is thriving on innovation. Every month, new innovations, new versions, a great community, just like tonight here. So I think that all sums up the support and all the track record we already built up the past years. Validates as well that Mendix is a perfect platform to build applications in a low code way, because they predicting that all the new software in the world, 60% of the new software in the world is building with a low-code platform. Not specifically Mendix, but with a low-code platform. So keep that in mind when you do your daily jobs with making Mendix applications, that is the future. Right?
the proper security concerns and all those things. Because as a user, you can test it, but then from the real security part of it, like, are you able to test it? Any of those parts?
Yeah. The underlying module was pen tested a lot of times. Oh, actually, repeat the question for the remote guys. The question was, have you tested it? How can you test it? A module, because it's important, because it's about security. Yes, the module that is using is the multi-factor authentication module that is already in the marketplace. That is the basic. That validates the secure code and the sessions, etc. Please take a look at that one as well. That is a lot of tested, because there are a lot of apps in production that make use of that module, and this is basically an extension on it. We're planning for also pen tests on this one, but you have to think like a hacker. Like I said, think. What if I can grab that secret, or what if I can grab your phone? I cannot grab your face, so implement biometrics. That sort of things you have to keep in mind. Just like the fallback of the PIN code is also an example of tested it out. Any more? Yeah. Yep. Hi, Jan.
Is that actually used at customers as well?
We are planning to go live with this module, and that is also an answer to the question: is it fully tested, etc. It will pen test on that customer, and then it will also implement it. So, Henk Jan.
Real-time updates.
The real-time updates. With this version, I haven't used pusher. I used just a timer. Just a microflow timer with a nanoflow is my object that is expecting the code in a safe way. For the real-time updates, it's basically running every 700 milliseconds, but can be pushed. All right. Any more questions? No? I'm thirsty as well. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Have you some last words, Jan?
Yeah, thank you so much, Pim and Pieter, for these presentations. I love them. I hope you did as well. And I hope the remote attendees did as well. I did ask if there were some questions. I don't know if anyone can look on my laptop to see if anyone remote has any final questions. No questions. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so at least not everyone fell asleep remotely. Good. Okay. Yeah, we'll be posting everything online soon, so you can skip through it if you want. And yeah, make sure you sign up for the next meetup and next events. On November 17 and 18, we have a Capture the Flag hack event. And that's actually testing your hacking skills. So you have to hack into Mendix applications. So if you like that kind of thing, come and join us. It's a 24-hour event, starts on Thursday and ends on Friday with drinks, obviously. Just some household stuff here. We need to make sure that we leave the room as we found it, so nice and clean. So if you can just help clean up the bottles, and we'll have to move around the tables a little bit. That's it. Thank you so much for joining, and let's have a drink.